Right, let's do the lecture, Unit 2 from Chapter 6, Time Series and Forecasting. So these are the things that we're going to discuss today. I'm going to explain quantitative approaches for time series forecasting. Time series patterns, we have different patterns when it comes to time series, and based on every single one of those, we have different strategies. Forecast accuracy, that refers to the method that we gonna find to measure which method shows us the best forecast, and moving averages on exponential smoothly. So first of all, what is the time series? So time series, it's a set of observations, it's a set of data points, let's say, set of data points, that, like any other data point, they have two values, x and y's, sorry, and x value here would be time, and the y value would be any value, any measured value that we have in time series. So a time series is a set of observations measured at successive points. Basically means that points in time basically means like times that we can put on the axis. So it could be specific time and it could be periods of time. So quantitative approach in here is that we're going to use, because we're dealing with a bunch of numbers in here, so it's quantitative, and that would be based on an analysis of historical data. So we have a set of data from the past, and so that would be historical data, and we're going to just predict the future or forecast the pattern, forecast the values in the future, and this method is called time series method. So to be able to do that, first of all, we need to deal with patterns, and the first step would be to plot, to construct a time series plot. So that plot is a typical two-dimensional plot with x and y, but in this case, like I said, x value would be time. So we're going to put t, or time, in x value, and the y value would be any measured value that we have. So here's an example. This is the period, and here's the sale. This case, the example is the data points are sales in different times. So we have those data points on the plot, and that would be an example of time series plot. So different patterns. These are different types of patterns: horizontal, trend. Sometimes you have a trend in general. So that means if you take a look at the pattern, at the plot, sorry, and if you zoom back and just look at the whole plot, you'll see some sort of trend in here, in trend. And this one has like no trend, it's horizontal, flat kind of thing, but it doesn't mean that every single data points that are sitting on that this trend or this horizontal line. You may have some like points off, it could be normal, but in general, it sounds like it's not going somewhere. And in this case, it's a trend. Yeah, so you can conclude that data are like going up. And here, it's a seasonal thing. It's a seasonal pattern. So it just repeats that every time. You have this, you see the pattern. It sounds like every period of time, you have this pattern repeatedly going, and you can just based on that predict how this is going to react in the future. So we can forecast that. And in trend, and the point here is that this cycle, the cycle, let's say, the cycle is just happening at least several times in a year. And if you have that cycle not happening in a year, not repeatedly happening in a year, that would be this cyclical pattern. So seasonal, that's the difference between seasonal pattern and cyclical pattern. And if you combine these two together, trend and seasonal, something like this, you have a pattern in general, and if you have a trend in general, upward or downward, and you have seasonal movement all together in combination, that would be trend and seasonal. So, yeah. So what I want you to do now is that please pause the video and take a look at all these explanations here about horizontal pattern, trend pattern, and seasonal. And the other one, seasonal, trend and seasonal, and the other ones. And please try to just read all those explanations. And if you had any questions, bring up your question. But please pause the video and check up those slides about the patterns. Okay, so now I want to show you some real life examples of those trends. So the best, one of those best examples of time series, if you ask me, I would say stock. So stock prices in different time, or stock plots. So this is the one specific stock in the US NASDAQ, so US market. And if you Google that, if you Google any stock, like you can pick, this belongs to Square, and I just have done this in Google. We can do the same. So you see the pattern. You see some sort of pattern. You can click on every one of these options to see the whole pattern in a different time. So this is the 1 day period. You can check. And over here, this shows all those data points in 5 days. So from here to there, it just covers 5 days. It covers 1 month. It just covers 6 months, and go on and go on. So here, I just want to show you this one. On this 6 months period, you see, if you take a look at that, you see a pattern. There's a trend. There's a trend in here, right? The trend here, what you see here is that the price is going higher and higher and higher. So in general, of course, there's a fluctuation, but in general, when you compare these prices to these prices, when you see here, it's a upward trend. So that's a trend, and then the trend is upward. But it's not just a trend. We have a seasonal, right? We have a seasonal movement as well. And by seasonal, I mean, take a look at these, right? This is a 6 month movement plot, 6 months, not a year. So we have those fluctuations happening in that period. That means this is a seasonal, and the trend as well together. So trend, seasonal. And you may have other kind of patterns as well. So in 1 year, you see the trend is like the trend here is just like too obvious. If you just take a look at that in general, it's too obvious. And in 5 year, so this is this is interesting, because now on this plot, you can see this part of the plot. This part of the plot is just like horizontal, because not going anywhere. And this part in particular, from 2020 March, we have a very obvious trend, a very good actually one, upward trend, and very obvious. So over here to there, it's not just trend, we have a seasonal trend. So very good example. I just encourage you to find out different patterns and use the stock market. Take a look at some of those patterns and see which is which. Try to find different samples. But for cycle, for the last one on the slides, not cycle, cyclical. Let me show you. Oh, you don't see that, but anyway. And the last option, was cyclical. For the cyclical, you see this sig that you hear, this cycle that you see here, this movement upward and downward. This is happening in year. So it's just from minimum, it just goes to maximum and comes back to the minimum. So the whole movement from here, this point to there, this is not a seasonal movement because it's just not repeatingly happening in 1 year. You have just one of those in that year. So this movement and this movement, if you see here, just going up, at some point it could go down in the future, just like this. It could be another one of these, right? So in general, these kind of fluctuations, they're not seasonal, they're cyclical. So let's continue. So now what I want you to do is that I want you to come here under week 2. Here in week 2 forum, I want you to find out, do a research on Google, find a stock other than SQ, find another stock. Let's say, I don't know, could be anything. If you just want to just check something famous as Apple, that's fine. But I want you to go over on there are many websites that they show you like some of those examples of stocks. Well, I want you to do a research. Please find three stocks, and find out different patterns on those stocks, and take a screenshot, right? And take a screenshot of that. And you can search it on Google just like me, and take a screenshot of this area. I just want, you can cut it out and put it in here in forum and explain what kind of pattern that plot shows. Okay, what kind of pattern the plot shows. I want you to do 3 of them. Please take your time. And I just assume that it just would be something like half an hour homework. So please put your time, do the little research, find out stocks, and take a screenshots and put it here. So just have it here. I would open a discussion in here, and I suppose I expect you to come here and post over there. Okay, I'm done. I posted this one. So homework. Okay. Yeah. Stock plots. If you click on that, you see this. So I expect you to just make a reply to this and upload those. And I will show you how you can do this. For example, so here you go. This is mine. I want to take a picture of this and upload there. And like I said, you need to mention the pattern as well. I changed my mind just to make it easy for you. Now I want you to do it just two of them. That would be fine. If you just upload 2 patterns, that would be enough. I mentioned that in forum as well, so you can see that over there. So something like this, take a screenshot. You have that in here, and I want to show you how you can upload there. You can make a reply and go there. Click on edit. I'm not sure if you have access to that. Okay, let me see what happens. I'm going to reply to this. And yeah, you have advanced button. So click on advanced button. There you go, open this up. You have all these options in here. And the option you need is this one, the picture. So click on the picture. Now you have something on your computer so you can browse repositories. No, let's see what happens. Yeah, there you go. Choose the file. My file is sitting here. on my desktop. So if you have a Mac, it just works like this. But if you don't, you need to, screenshot works in a different way. You need to paste the screenshot in Paint, then save the file, and then you're gonna have the file. Now, you just need to upload it. The picture is pretty big, so I can make it smaller. Make sure this tick is on. I can make it 3 by something less than that. So make sure the picture is not that big. And there you go, save. Go save. Oh, you have to give it something, I don't know, plot something. Give it an explanation. And here, click there and just mention the pattern. So this is just one example that shows that how you can do this. You can then, when you're done your post to forum, click on that and it just goes there. All right, just one more time. So please do this here, find 2 stocks and do your research, and just do it this way. In Google, you can find out, you can see the patterns, take a screenshot and upload that in here. Make sure the size is not that big and mention the pattern here. This is one example, just one sample, right? Don't copy this, find something else other than that. And please do just, you need to find 2 different stocks, not 3. I just changed my mind and made it easy for you.